Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. Ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. Ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? Hectic day. My back is a little better. For those of you who had been asking, thank you very much. My camera did the switchy again. Why is it doing that? I want this camera. There we go. That's a much better picture. But, don't really like the zoom, but that's still something I need to work on with this new program. But I think I'm just going to disconnect that webcam because it keeps switching to it. Now there we go. I'm more in screen. Okay, perfect. We have more LP history to do. And it seems like my camera's having a hard time keeping up. I don't know. Maybe it's just something I'm seeing on my screen. I see a little lag. I was trying to do a Bohemian Rhapsody, but I just couldn't follow through. I have a meeting tomorrow night, so there probably will not be a stream tomorrow night. So no matter how achy-breaky my back feels right now, I was like, well, we need to do a history show. So let me do the YouTuber stuff before we get started. As always, if you like this type of unusual content, very specialty, very niche, please smash that subscribe button. I would super appreciate it. And liking the video also helps. But right now, almost more importantly, is I do need your support on Patreon. That's what's able to justify me spending time on this rather than other things because it helps fund more time to do libertarian activism and the work I put into the preservation of this party's history. So please, if you can afford it, support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. And now that we're past some of the busy Colorado convention season, I am going to go back. We're going to finish up the problem of political authority, which is a patron-only video series that I'm doing on Patreon. All right, with all of those preliminaries out of the way, but I super do appreciate it. And of course, all super chats matter, and after the fact super thanks, which I still haven't seen how I would get notified of that because I don't think I've ever gotten one of those. But if you remember the last time, we were on talking about fare booths and got a really nice comment from D. James Robinson on the last video where it was like a blast from the past for him, where he heard some names that he hadn't heard in a while. And if I remember correctly, my hair is like super messy. I don't like it. Well, it's going to be messier if I take it out of my ponytail, but hold on. Wild and crazy pink hair. Let's just get a little bit of a brush through this because it's going to drive me a little crazy if I don't do that. Okay, that's a little better. I need a haircut so badly. You guys know my hair is normally like 4 inches shorter. This is way too long for me. Anyway, I believe we had left off on Colorado. So let's see what was going on in Colorado in 1975. God, these glasses are filthy. Hold on, I can't see through them. Oh, I'm just a hot mess today, aren't I? And Connor, I did see your comment after that last show. Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? With the, whatchamacallit, the email spoofing, wasn't it? And hello, Connor Quinn. Yes, it's Mama Liberty time. But here we go, Colorado. It's just a tiny little blurb. It said, aside from its news notes and announcements, the state LP newsletter recently ran an instructive article by National LP co-founder David Nolan on how to reach potential new members. I wonder if we have this article. Let's go to Lpedia and look. We might not go through it, but that seems like it could be a really good article. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go over here to Lpedia and the Colorado newsletters. I think the one in the 70s, Libertarian Party, was called Clipboard. And let's see if we have a clipboard from this time. Where is newsletters? Interesting. We don't have the newsletters listed on the Okay, I'm going to have to fix that. So let me just look up Clipboard. Colorado Clipboard. Here it is. And let's see if we have... We don't go back to the 70s. It only goes back to 1985. So now we know there was a libertarian newsletter in Colorado in the 70s. Yeah, the earliest we go is 1985. Now I really want to find this. Fascinating, because there would have been an article. And I thought we had all of the Colorado newsletters. Let me go to the the newsletter called Colorado Liberty. Maybe that was actually earlier than Clipboard. Ah, it is. We have Colorado Liberties from 1977, but this is still earlier. But we do have Colorado Liberties dated from 1977. Only one. And it was actually called the Colorado Libertarian then. And then it skips to 1979. But I want to show you this really cool image. This is from Colorado. I made a t-shirt with this on it. And there's buttons out with this on it. But let me show you this really cool porcupine image from Colorado. I believe this is original to Colorado, that it was an artist here that drove it. But there you go. You see that Live and Let Live porcupine. I really like that porcupine because it kind of looks like a hurricane. Reminds me of Florida a little bit. But yeah, so that is, I believe there's a button. Let me look up buttons. I believe there's a button with that same image on it. Let's look up buttons. Yep, right there. There is. I knew I had it. So there is that button as well that was put out by the Libertarian Party of Colorado, as far as I know. And if you go to my merch store, if it's still up, because I haven't messed with it in a while, tiny URL, what was it? Pink Flame merch, I think. I think I have a t-shirt with that image on it. Why is that there? This is what I want to go to. Hold on one second, because I did a Google search. But I think there is. Let me see. Yep. Let's see. I think, though, we have that. Here we go. So I did make a t-shirt out of that same porcupine. This is Grab the Pine, Get the Quills. It's one of my more favorite shirts. So, yeah, Pink Flame, tinyurl.com/Pink Flame merch if you're interested in getting that particular t-shirt. It is one of my more favorites. I just thought of that. Okay, let's continue. So Colorado didn't have much, but we did a little jaunt back into the past there with Colorado with the really, to me, that's the coolest porcupine logo. But it goes to show how early we were using the porcupine. It's not a recent thing. All right, Connecticut. For those of you who don't know, I was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The state party is expanding beyond its original hardcore. Okay. Activists are developing specialization of tasks and a committee structure to make the party organization more effective and its impact greater. Activities planned for 1975 include completion of a constitution and bylaws, so they didn't have that yet, huh? A state convention in June, a membership drive, a booth at 5 fairs, and support for a bill in the legislature, which would give the voter the option of pulling a lever marked "None of the above are acceptable." I think the only state that right now actually does have none of the above in at least some races is Arizona. Anyone in chat, if you can confirm that for me, I would love to know if I was correct. Preview, a weekly newspaper, published an interview with state co-chairman Bob Loomis. Loomis discussed the LP position on public education, taxes, the Postal Service, and other issues. Well, let's see if we can find that. At a later date, I circle these things to see if we can maybe do another bonus episode finding these items. Ooh, this is a long column on Florida. Sangria time. So it's funny, we're going through my whole geographical history here. So obviously I live in Colorado right now. I was born in Connecticut, but I lived most of my life in Florida. Most of my childhood was in Pompano Beach, and then I owned a home for like 20 years in Boynton Beach. Hello, JJ. Hello, actually, also known as ghoulish Republican troll. We gotta have our quota of ghoulish Republican trolls. The LPF held its annual convention April 5th through 6th in Orlando, featured speakers, and remember, I'll be at the LPF, or now LPFL, or they call themselves LPFLA. I can't remember what they call themselves now. I think they call themselves LPFL, right? Any Florida people? What initials do you use? Like Colorado, we use LPCO. Do you use LPF or LPFL? I think you still just use LPF because there's no other F states like there are other C states. Rabbit Trail. Featured speakers include National Chairman Ed Crane, Louisiana State Senator Woody Jenkins, and nationally syndicated columnist John Lofton, Crane urged the gathering of about 70 LPers to become activists, and in particular, to get the LPF on the ballot in 76. Jenkins wrote of his success in helping rewrite Louisiana's constitution, and I'm assuming he means the constitution of the actual state of Louisiana, not the party, into a more libertarian document, because it would kind of suck if the state party's constitution wasn't very libertarian. Loughton, in a humorous address, described some of his experiences in dealing with the bungling bureaucrats on Capitol Hill. Judith Miley is the editor of the Florida Libertarian, the new, improved version of the Libertarian Party of South Florida newsletter. I think we have some of those. Let's look at what was that newsletter called? Florida Libertarian. Let's see if we have that on Alpedia. I think we do. Because I lived in South Florida, I'm always very interested in things from South Florida, and I think I remember seeing that. Let me type. Okay. Let's see. Maybe not. I don't see that newsletter. I see the South Florida Convention in 1974, which is pretty early for a regional convention. Hola, Nathan. Well, I guess we don't. I thought we had that newsletter. Maybe it's just not uploaded into Alpedia yet, because I'm pretty sure I've seen hard copies of that newsletter. The most recent issue contains several interesting editorials and numerous news stories, including a piece on the Educational Libertarian Institute for a Free Economy, with an acronym of LIFE. John Bailey, LPSF president. We don't ever call our chapter or affiliates president. This is the first time I've ever seen that title used in the LP. It's always chair. President's very common in other parliamentary organizations. First time I've ever seen that. Recently organized a mailing of LP literature to the Reason List for South Florida. It's funny, see where it mentioned Reason List? This kind of harkens back to what I was talking about yesterday with Salting of Lefts. We used to rent the Reason mailing list a lot in the 70s. In April, the Gainesville Sun took front page notice of Wayne Harley's LP campaign for the Gainesville City Commission. We will look that up at a later date. In the article, Harley points to a local incident to illustrate libertarian opposition to governmental interference. He cited the struggle in Gainesville between the city and a gas station owner over the owner's right to rent U-Hauls. By what right does the city tell a man that he can't rent U-Hauls on his own property, asked Harley. If ownership means anything at all, it means the right to use your own property in a way that does not injure someone else. Renting U-Hauls certainly seems to fall in that category. Harley is the third candidate sponsored by the LP organization in I should know how to pronounce Florida counties, but they have a lot of Indian names. Alachua County. Earlier, or Alachua. I don't know. Floridians, I've never been to that county. There's a frickin' lot of counties in Florida. I've heard of it, never been there. I couldn't even tell you where in the state it is. I'm assuming it's somewhere in North Florida. By Gainesville, well, since he was running for Gainesville, quite obviously Gainesville is in that county. Derp. Earlier candidates were Brian Donerly for City Commission in 74, and Catherine Michelini ran for school board last November. But why are they mixing in talking about a Gainesville candidate with the Libertarian Party of South Florida? Gainesville is not in South Florida. Gainesville's in North Florida. It's not in South Florida. This is weird because now they're hopping back to talking about the LP of South Florida. The Executive Committee of the South Florida LP has set forth some suggestions for building a broader base in the state. It suggests a combination of educational work and political action, that will alert likely prospects of the party's existence. Recent editions of the South Florida newsletter have contained investigative analysis of the sugar cartel, governmental medical care, proposed federal accreditation of all colleges, nationalized rail transport, the crisis in the Social Security system, and the crowding out effect of government bonds in the capital market. This is funny. Members of the South Florida LP picketed the post office. Fucking libertarians, I love them. In Fort Lauderdale and Miami on National Tax Protest Day. Okay, now we're moving on to Georgia. Devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he's way behind. He was looking to make a deal. Okay, recent meeting. Yes, I do know every single lyric to that song. Don't ask. Recent meetings of the state organization have focused on both internal education and practical political action. For example, economist Paul Craig Roberts spoke to the group in January. In March, Ken Trobow, a defeated candidate for the state legislature, talked about his political plans for the future and his prospects for organizing the LP in Brunswick. In April, a meeting was devoted to planning for National Tax Protest Day. The state party is co-sponsoring the Southern Libertarian Conference in Atlanta on May 3rd. And the title, Southern Libertarian, that's the name of the newsletter of the Libertarian Party of South Carolina, if I remember correctly. Idaho. Libertarians are well along in the process of establishing a state organization. 50 persons attended a recent organizational meeting in Boise, at which Roger McBride spoke. A press conference given by McBride was attended by all 4 area TV stations, 3 radio stations, and the Idaho Statesman. I'm going to have to look that up. McBride was also a guest on a news radio station's talk show. Preliminary work for the organizational meeting was coordinated by Alan Dalton with help from Bob Meyer. Dalton is the new temporary chairman. James Jones is vice chair, and Dale Green is secretary. The group is already working on a ballot status drive. Okay, New York. At the recent state convention of the Free Libertarian Party, Gary Greenberg was selected as chairperson. We know that Gary Greenberg, we've heard his name a lot. If you are a regular watcher of this, that he was a perennial candidate, even in the short history of the New York Party. His first priority is a membership drive. The new vice chairs, so they had multiple vice chairs, are Charlie Blood, the Tuchelli's campaign statewide coordinator, and Susan Corkery, leader of the Tuchelli petition drive. The state convention passed resolutions calling for the repeal of the Rockefeller drug laws and naming the porcupine as the state party mascot. See, I told you, George Quillies was involved very early as our mascot. The Free Libertarian Party has chartered new local units in Albany and Suffolk County. Bill McReynolds, an assistant professor of economics at Cornell, is writing a position paper on the energy crisis for the state party. Illinois. Party members have been extremely active recently throughout the state. A political race of note was for the mayor of Carbondale, where Libertarian Irene Altschuler managed to stay in the race despite incredible electoral manipulations by the city establishment. Tell me it's not so. Other political battles are in the works. Libertarians are pleased over the decision of the Des Plaines City Council. Des Plaines! I couldn't help it. Oh, I'm awful. I got dad jokes, and I'm not even a dad. And the sad thing, most of you watching this probably don't even know what the hell I was just doing. I mean, besides drinking. To reject a public housing proposal, which had been attacked vigorously and publicly by LPers. Iowa. Welcome to the newly formed Libertarian Party of Iowa. That's exactly what it says. They have drafted a constitution and elected officers during a meeting in Ames. In addition, they have received some media coverage and plan to get much more. Let's see if we can find that media coverage for a later episode. Kentucky. The new LP chairperson here is Bobby John, who replaces Paul Sigler, a recent immigrant to California. Louisiana. The party is growing steadily with Dr. Jeremy Millett, recently elected the new state chairman. Now we gotta go to the next page. The Louisiana party was of great assistance during the International Liquidity and the Monetary Reform Conference held in New Orleans in March. Special thanks go to Sparky Hall, Michelle Fry, and David Thoreau. Yeah, definitely welcome to the late 1970s. I think that is all of the state party stuff we're going to cover. We're going to close with, because I do try to keep these history ones somewhat brief, because I want you guys to retain this stuff, because I think it's really important. But we're going to end with, let me see if I can pull up this issue of LP News. I want to show you where we're at and where we're going to end. And there's a cool picture. Okay, so let me go to... Okay, this is what we were reading from Fair Boost to TV Reply, State Party Spread the Word. We just stopped up there on the very first, continued from page 4, which was Louisiana. Check out that 70s beard on that guy. Let's look at that. What does the caption of that picture says? LP News editor Bill Evers. So it's the guy who edited LP News. Look at that beard. Talks things over with Reason co-editor Lynn Kinski during the California LP convention in Santa Monica. And Nathan asked when I'm going to start streaming on Rumble. I didn't know Rumble had live streaming, or maybe I did, but the program I use, which is Ecamm, does not support multi-streaming to Rumble. Ecamm is a cutting-edge program, which means that Rumble is not making it easy for multi-streaming platforms to go there. The minute it becomes available in Ecamm, I'll do it, because it's just another button, and I already pay pretty hefty subscription fee to be able to do multi-streaming. But that's why my videos do go to Rumble. They get cross-posted from YouTube. But I have to be honest with you. I know everyone's like, oh, YouTube's so terrible, and I agree with you. Nobody watches on Rumble. Like, I'm a good capitalist. I don't want to have a total of 5 views on my videos. I already don't have a great many views because this is very niche. But I'm not going to be wasting hours out of my life, a week. It takes a lot of time to do these shows to get, 5, 10 views. So I'm just not going to do it. So Rumble just isn't viable right now. That's just the reality. YouTube is still what's viable. YouTube's where I make a little bit of money, to keep this up. So, but I would stream easily if their API made it easy for programs like Ecamm. I don't use Restream. Restream will probably get a Rumble integration first, but Restream was like $500 a year. And I know people are going to go, oh, just use OBS. No, I don't want to use OBS. I don't want to screw around with settings. I don't have time for that crap. I need an out-of-the-box, one-button thing. OBS is way too fussy for me. No patience, no time. So, heading that off at the pass. I know it's free. Doesn't work for me. Okay. Best letter to the editor. So down at the bottom, that is what we are closing with. The LP News Awards, $10, which was probably a big deal in 1975, to the author. Well, it was a year's membership, I think. Was it year's membership like $5? I can't remember. It was pretty cheap. Blah, blah, blah. It's telling you about an award. The letter must mention the Libertarian Party and should list the local or national address or telephone number. Runner-up letters were by N.L. Moser in the February 25th Las Vegas Review-Journal, and by James Burns. This is before James Burns changed his name. This is James Libertarian Burns, who was so irritated by the fact he couldn't get the party name on the ballot in Nevada that he legally changed his middle name to Libertarian so that the word Libertarian appeared on the ballot, and that's the famous Jim Libertarian Burns. I would do that. I would change my middle name to get the word on the ballot. Okay, so runner-up letter, James Burns, in the March 12th Winnemucca, Nevada Humboldt Sun. The best letter appeared in the March 15th New York Times. And it's from Andrea Millen. She is the vice chair at this time of the Libertarian Party. And it says, to the editor, your two-part editorial of February 23rd, The Need to Plan for Economic Policy, correctly admits that the government is now enormously involved in the marketplace through taxation, public expenditures, regulation, subsidies, and foreign economic policy. Government is involved, in fact, in virtually all aspects of the economy in this country. The Times solution to our economic ills is to turn over full control of the economy to the very institution which has caused our problems through taxation, public expenditure, regulation, subsidies, and foreign economic policy. The seeming naivete of the assertion that industries would still be free to make their own investment decisions, but they would do so on the basis of more complete information about long-term trends as affected by government policies is astonishing. No civilization in history has operated under such a system. You want to know something I'm noticing about this letter already? An AI wouldn't have written this. It would have... An AI could have analyzed that New York Times article and written a completely passable letter to the editor, but there's a human spark here. AI is starting to really annoy me if you haven't noticed, but people who can actually write are going to be in demand. But your pulp media, all of that is going to go the way of AI. But the people who can actually put a little bit of flair into writing are always going to be in demand. Nobel Prize-winning economist Friedrich von Hayek in The Road to Serfdom wrote, "Planning leads to dictatorship because dictatorship is the most effective instrument of coercion and the enforcement of ideals. Rather than giving government more control over the economy, which it is already destroying, we must insist that government completely withdraw from intervention in the marketplace so that it can function in a healthy manner. We need more freedom to regulate our lives, not further steps towards totalitarianism." Completely agree. So that is it for today. We'll do some more next week. So I hope everyone has an awesome night. I see Bunchy's very happy there in the corner. He's just chilling. Just chilling with that grin. Let's see, is Bunchy fast here? Oh no, he's just chill. Look at that grin. How can you not smile and look at that thing? Yes, I do have a collection of I voted stickers on my wall and on my garden cherub there. All right, everyone. Well, that will be it for this evening. I'm going to go get back on the inversion table. That's what's really been helping my back today. And go to bed on the heating pad again. I am much more mobile than I was yesterday. So I hope you have an awesome night. And if I can stream tomorrow, I will, but I don't think so. There's an important meeting that I need to go to. Oh, I need to... Crap. Okay, when I go to my... Oh, shit. I meant to update my closing patrons. I did redo the video, and then I didn't download it and stick it into my little production stream here. So this is still the old patron screen. I did have 2 new patrons, Andy Bukovic and I believe Jeannie Bust. So your names are in the new video I created. I just was a dumb bunny and forgot to download it. So it will be the next show. So this will be the old closer, but I have done it. So thank you very much, Andy and Jeannie. And again, if any of you all, because it's tough economy. So did lose some patrons, people just can't afford it forever. So let me just do a closing pitch once again. If you can support me on Patreon, it's patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. Okay, everyone, I hope you have an awesome night. Bye-bye.
Gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business, not because they want to